Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. There is an amazing professional I know who can help people who are helping their loved ones, their seniors who are aging, and provide tips on how to best support them and how to help them navigate a lot of the emotions that they're going through as they age. Her name is Tiffany Golden, and Tiffany is here today with me. Tiffany, how are you?
Good. It's so nice to be here, and I'm so happy to serve this amazing audience. And I know we're going to talk about some things that are pivotal and practical and actionable, and I look forward to us helping a lot of people today.
Absolutely, and this is great content that we're going to have for people to really take advantage of. Tiffany, how did you get involved in this work that you do?
Well, let me back into that for a second. I would say a few years ago that my LinkedIn profile looked very different. It had a lot of sports and entertainment and lifestyle marketing, and now I would say that it's full of purposeful content and a purpose-driven career. And that came out of taking care of my dad. And my dad is a 33-year career military veteran, bomber pilot, very decorated, 9 medals of distinction, 787 combat missions,
Wow.
who is now, gulp right here, on hospice. And so through navigating this journey with him, I have learned so much to help so many different people. In fact, it wasn't the fall or the call that changed it all for my dad. It was the policy. So there's so many different details and things that can hijack what we think aging in place can look like, for
Yeah.
sure. In actively taking care of my dad, I've spent over 600 days across independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, inpatient rehab facilities, and of course, I'm deep in the hospice process. And I see so many unmet needs that seniors have because families didn't know what they needed to know, how to soothe a parent, how to care for a parent, and didn't know how much their parents were camouflaging from them to not be a burden.
Yeah.
And my goal of Golden Strategy coaching is to condense the enormity of the emotional and physical overwhelm and to prevent your life from being hijacked as an adult child, to minimize the disruption for your family, to improve the quality of care, and also minimize the struggle with your parents. I enjoy helping families assemble their Avengers, their care team. I specialize in the spackle and tackle of the different family dynamics that come into play.
And there's lots of those.
Managing unmet expectations, filling voids and roles, and how to process all of that, as well as creating a care plan for you that goes with the kind of care you want to provide for your parent based on your own needs and emotions. Not everybody's parent was a peach.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of layers and emotions that unpack like a clown car when people are tasked with taking care of their parents in a non-optional sense. And the goal is to help people know what they don't know, why they need to know it, how to go about acquiring the right information that will help you maximize the most amazing care
Yeah.
for your parents.
And you're not like other professionals. You're not a home care provider. You don't serve that role. You're a different kind of professional in that way.
I am 100% non-competitive to anyone.
Mhm.
I am absolutely a symbiotic complementary partner because I focus on the holistic view of your parent, deciphering, uncover, revealing who they are, where they are, how to soothe them, how to help them, and how to begin all of this with cognitive decline in mind. So when I am working with a family, I actually make their relationships with every provider in their care mix more effective. I'll give you an example. For a person that works as a placement specialist, by acquiring this different intel with families, the family is more informed about the kind of questions that they would actually want to ask somebody when touring a community. It makes a lot more sense for them to tailor the facilities or communities that they're showing based on these off the grid, unimaginable considerations that you might never have considered. When it comes to aligning with a care partner, knowing how to soothe a parent by age and stage, knowing what smells are comforting to them, knowing what key core products to buy at the store that you don't want to change, really help a parent feel more comfortable about having a virtual stranger, in their home. You can't say, hi, here's Maria, go take your 2 o'clock nap. It doesn't make them comfortable. Learning how to accept and need care is a big deal, especially for this older generation, right? That grew up through the Depression, my dad through the military. My dad's the first to say, that this is more difficult than being shot at for 1,000 days in Vietnam, needing ADL and care support. Declutter specialists, I say, don't touch a thing until you've noticed what I want you to see that's in front of you that you don't even know is such incredibly important intel. Odd placed furniture, so many different things that you need to know in their medicine cabinet, under their sink, in their fridge before you declutter.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think that I'm helpful to everybody and make everybody much more effective at what they do. Our parents don't want to be a burden. They are doing masterful jobs at dodging diagnosis and doctors and creating incredible coping strategies. And of course, your phone calls with them are going to be met with a, how you doing? Like pep in their voice. And if it's a planned visit, they've got time to kind of organize things a little bit, right? To conceal medications or supplements or things or aids that they have, where once you go through this approach with me, I'm going to help you know really quick, really easy, and seamlessly how to actually, it's kind of like meeting the Fockers, right? Really meeting your parents and understanding where they are.
Yeah, no, that's great. So we're going to talk real briefly about a few tips.
Yes.
Actionable tips that people can take. There's a lot more than what we're going to talk about, which they'll learn from going to your website, which we'll talk about in just a minute or two. But some of these to understanding the magnitude of their losses. Talk about that.
Goodness, the first thing I say is don't parent your parents. You have to partner with your parents, and these tips are going to help you partner with your parents. I know you feel like you're parenting your parents, but you don't want to let on to that, and here's how. So understanding the magnitude of their losses is understanding how different their point of access is right now. Loss of dignity, loss of dependence, loss of loved ones, loss of friends, loss of physical control in their body and their mind are very, very difficult things, especially loss of value for their wisdom. Very difficult for them.
Yeah, I can understand. I mean, working with clients that I work with, they go through that, and that loss, and being able to understand that is super important. One of the things you mentioned, another tip is, I like the metaphor, putting down the boxing gloves.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It means don't fight them. Appreciate even when you're communicating with them, their slower brains. Here.com has an amazing, staggering statistic out there that over 48 million people over 55 have significant hearing impairments. So we make all these generalized assumptions too, that they can hear and even track what we're saying. We're patient with our children, but we need to be a lot more patient, with our parents when we're communicating with them, and lowering that resistance and listening to their needs and listening to their perspectives, whether we agree or not. It's just intel. Collect it and accept it without ego, or resist that temptation to fire back.
Yeah, the kids don't want to listen to us. Our parents may not be able to listen to us.
It's very similar in the sandwich
similar
generation.
Result, just a different cause.
Exactly, for sure.
And then managing the clash of emotions. I have an idea of what that means based on my own experiences, but what do you mean by that?
Well, there's so many different considerations in terms of how we're actually talking to them, right? So shame can equal guilt. Anger is anger. Lecturing equals embarrassment. There's so many different ways when we're presenting ourselves in tone and the words that we're choosing that just cause that clash. You have to realize that your parents feel like you're going to evict them, that you're looking for reasons that they can't live independently or manage on their own. And, this whole aging process for them, apart from us, is like being transported through, a Marvel alternative universe. And it is terrifying because it's not a matter of simply working with a coach or a care provider or buying best-selling books on Amazon. It's, the roadmap isn't defined. It's individual, and there's just so much fear in that loss of control.
Right, and the fourth tip that you and I were talking about is
just harmonizing all of this together, and the goal is cooperation, right? And like I was saying earlier, some people have loving families and tight units, and some people don't have that luxury or gift. and it makes it very difficult when we make them defensive. We're just not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
And as you approach these different things, there's a way to collect a lot of really important intel that you need for everyone in your caregiving plan and mix, by asking your parents questions that are purely nostalgic. So for example, the potential that your parents will experience cognitive decline if they're not already is enormous. So you need to know things like, what music did they like when they were 7 or 12 or 15, not just now, in their 80s, and focus your conversations on, what they want their legacy to be. They're searching to redefine their purpose and their will and come to terms with what they've lost and how to hold on what they can hold on to.
Yeah. Lots of great information, more on your website, more talking to you. So Tiffany's information is on screen. You can see that. If you're watching the video, if you're listening as a podcast, then you can see it in the caption, but her website is there, her phone number is there. Give her a call. She's a great resource and a great partner for whatever avenue you're going down when it comes to caring for a loved one. She can help with that. Tiffany, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.